Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast. This is week 19 of Trade Talks. My name is Brian, and I'm joined by Ryan and Evan. Today, we'll bring some key players to Fantasy Hockey Court, go over a few last trade grades of the season, and dive into the end of the week streaming schedule. Let's go.
All right, welcome in everybody. Trade Talks week 19. Lots of trades going on in the NHL. But those are real trades, not fantasy hockey trades. We're just interested in fantasy hockey trades, right, boys?
Yeah.
A little bit of both. If they help my team in fantasy hockey.
Yeah. All right. We're pretty much past the fantasy hockey trade deadline in most leagues. So trade talks for the rest of the season going to look a little different. We're not going to be so focused on trade targets, trade grades, but we'll be looking into some players and really determining, should we hold on to those players? Should we stream those players? Really some more waiver wire relevant fantasy hockey decisions. But before we get into all that, we got some newsies to go over, including some trades and what they're going to mean for fantasy hockey. Evan, you wanna take us away here?
Yeah, sure. So we got some recent news here. Mackenzie Weegar goes to Utah. I believe it was for 3 second-round picks, and Oli Mata was in the deal. I think this really helps Utah as a team because Uyghur's a really good defensive defenseman. They already have Miguel Sergachev there to handle the offensive duties, as well as Sean Dursey. I'm interested to see where he's going to pair up. I think he'd be a good top pair, honestly, with Sergachev. So he's going to handle shorthanded stuff, I'm sure, and a lot of even strength minutes, really help them in the playoffs. Fantasy-wise, I think really the biggest thing here is Zane Parekh is going to get a look on the top power play, I would assume, with Uyghur being shipped out. So kind of as we were discussing off air, both of these guys are telling me to go ahead and pick him up, giving me the green light, as I've picked them up numerous times throughout multiple leagues. So we'll see if Zane Parekh can do anything with this. I think Uyghur's value pretty much stays the same or gets a little bit worse without the power play time, but he wasn't really getting power play points in Calgary anyways, so maybe he does get a few more even strength points here. But interesting stuff. And then we got Colton Parayko to Buffalo. I think it's still pending his waiver of his no trade list, but that would be an interesting one as well. I think it makes Buffalo, again, better defensively. They already got pretty good defense with Power, Byram, Dahlin, and Samuelson, so this just adds to that depth. There was rumors that Robert Thomas was going to be shipped to Buffalo as well, but that hasn't come to fruition. I think that'd be really cool if that happened. Connor Murphy goes to Edmonton, trying to actually help with some defense there instead of Darnell Nurse, the Eggman, Ryan. So maybe Connor Murphy can get some actual defense for this team. And then Sam Dickinson, I think, may be on his way to Edmonton as well. So trying to get a good third, fourth line center there that can help them on the draws and bring some physicality. Tyler Myers to Dallas, very good for Dallas. They needed to help fill out that kind of middle and bottom pair. So I think that's really going to help them in real life hockey. In terms of fantasy value for Tyler Myers, might go up a little bit because, Vancouver is a dumpster fire and an offensive wasteland. So maybe he'll get some secondary assists, throwing the puck up to Wyatt Johnson, Jason Robertson. Cole Smith to Vegas. I don't think there's much to talk about there fantasy-wise. And then Kiefer Sherwood was extended today, 5 by 5.75. I think it's a really good move for the Sharks. I think it'd be wise for them to keep Kiefer Sherwood moving forward to help kind of defend Celebrini and kind of bring some energy and physicality to the lineup.
Yeah, right on. Brian, like any of these trades, are you excited in fantasy hockey from any of these guys?
I'm surprised Evan's not impressed with the Cole Smith trade. You don't see value there. Honestly, no, not really. I think for this week, it might be nice if you have Colton Parayko, because now if he does go to Buffalo, you get the Saturday-Sunday start. And we know Buffalo has a good number of games rest of the fantasy regular season. And it is an upgrade on St. Louis's schedule, but other than that, not really.
Yeah, for me, with Connor Murphy going to Edmonton, this is like kind of the only thing I'm really intrigued by is the opportunity for Sam Renzel to get more minutes in Chicago and not be scratched, not be sent down in the AHL, and really getting a good look, like 25 plus minutes a night. The only thing is last game, Lev Shinov was back on the top power play unit, so Sam Renzel is going to need to get back on there to have fantasy relevance for me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about that. Lev Shunov is a baby deer on skates, Ryan. He'll be off it before you know it.
All right. Some more newsies over here. JT Miller. We've talked about JT Miller way too much on Trade Talks, but he is on the IR with an upper body injury. So yeah, we'll see what New York does there. We'll see if JT Miller plays. If you traded for Miller, if you listened to us and traded for JT Miller, like a few months ago because he was a trade target of ours and that fantasy hockey playoff schedule, well, he might not play, so we'll see about that. But Will Cooley was elevated to the top line with Mika Zibanejad, so keep your eye on Will Cooley. That could be an interesting value play, especially for those fantasy playoffs. John Gibson is day-to-day, so Talbot was getting the start with Sebastian Casa backing up. Evan, you wanted to see Sebastian Casa get the start, didn't you?
Oh, I did. If he would have started, I would have picked him up in some spots. He is a beast for the Griffins. He's going to be a great goalie in the future, boys.
All right. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on him. Rupe Hintz is technically ready to return, but Greg Gillitson was saying it's either Friday or Sunday that he'll return. And then Michael Misa is pretty catching fire here. He's got 3 goals in his past 3 games, 4 points in his last four games, and all of this success without playing with Macklin Celebrini or Will Smith. So he's really doing this on his own with William Eklund and Tyler Toffoli. So keep an eye on Michael Misa. He could bring some value. He was the fifth overall pick in that draft. Very high end prospect here. And Ryan O'Reilly is day-to-day after he took a butt end to the face. We'll see. I don't think that'll keep Ryan O'Reilly out many games. He's a tough guy, that's for sure.
Do you think he suddenly decides to wear a face shield after 20 years in the league?
I mean, if he's got something broken, he might have to for this injury.
Well, one thing we know for sure is that he's no Mark Stone, so I think he'll be back soon.
LTIR.
Yeah. Zach Werenski, he's missed the last 2 games with an illness, but all indications are that he should return to their next game. And then Arturi Lehkonen is week to week, so that's a big blow if you were counting on him, but that means that he might be back, for the fantasy semis and finals. We'll see about that, but I wouldn't be counting on him too much. And while he was out, Ross Colton was elevated to Brock Nelson and Valerie Nichushkin's line, but he didn't do anything with it. And I don't know if I would count on Ross Colton to be doing much there. Are you guys counting on Ross Colton?
No. In a categories leagues, it entices me, but points league, no.
Don't tell Nate, Ryan. I'm not counting on Ross Colton. Did you guys see I saw some rumblings that Val Nichushkin was considered in potential trade talks with Colorado. Did you guys see anything about that?
No.
Maybe I'm being led astray, but that'd be kind of crazy to me if they moved off of them. But I mean, he's not being utilized there correctly, in my opinion, Jared Bednar. But it'd be nice to see him get going. But Gabe Landeskog has really kind of come back. I'm glad I picked him up in a few spots. He's looking really good on that top line, top power play again.
Yeah, Nichushkin's always busy with skiing, let's say.
We got some comments here quickly. Lucio, looking for a JT Miller replacement, aren't we all? Who do you like most going forward? Lafreniere, Pavel Zacha, goals 6.5, assists 4.5, shorthanded points, power play points, shots, hits, blocks. I think between Zacha and Lafreniere, I would just go Lafreniere if you're looking for the Rangers playoff schedule. I mean, Zacha probably has an opportunity to do more on the top power play, but I think Lafreniere with his elevated role, he's been shooting a lot more. So I'd go there. How about you guys?
I second that.
Yeah, I would too. Although Boston's playoff schedule is almost as good as the Rangers, it's as good if you're counting week 21. But yeah, I do think Laff has good opportunity here to get leaned on heavily towards the end.
And not to mention his peripherals are a little bit better than Pavel Zacha's as well, which counts in this league.
There you go.
Yep.
He also said, who do you believe the Hurricanes will add at the deadline? Kadri is on my wire. I think the biggest one would be Trocheck, because he said he wouldn't go out west. He would stay east. It makes sense for Trocheck to go to Carolina. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm not sure. I mean, if Kadri goes there, that'd be great too. But outside of like adding a center, I don't know that they do anything else. You guys have anything different?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Carolina will do much. They made a big splash last year with Ranton, and that failed. So I don't think they're going to do much. And if Trocheck goes there, that could be great and would make sense, because you got to remember, I don't know if you saw that interview, but Trocheck's kids are staying in New York, because they didn't get traded. So
they play there.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go too far.
Yeah. It's a fair point.
His son's like, well, I didn't get traded from my hockey team, so I'm going to stay on my hockey team, right?
It's amazing stuff. Breadman, you prefer Landeskog or Cooley for fantasy playoffs, March 16 to April 5th? Cats, including hits and plus minus. I go Landeskog all day. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah,
all day.
Yeah,
all day, all night. You got to go Landy.
Also, what's more valuable between Chicago PP1D and Calgary PP1D? Chicago all day. But as he seconds this question, who the heck is Chicago PP1D? That's a good point. I really think that Rinzel deserves it and should have it, but we may see a carousel here as they're trying to figure out who really will be better next year in the last 20 to 30 games. So yeah, I don't think it's locked in by any means, but I think Rinzel should have it. So I either way, I would have Rinzel over Parekh in terms of like my personal rankings. In terms of Lev Shunov, I have no interest in him. So
yeah, I do think the Chicago top power play is a better fantasy environment for any player. But if you're just looking at the players that we're thinking about, Zane Parekh versus Sam Rinzel, even in the environment of Chicago's top power play, Zane Parekh just has so much offensive talent that I think he can turn around a Calgary top unit even if it's just like 50% of the time on ice. Like there's just so much potential there. So Zane Parekh on Calgary gets me more excited than Sam Rinzel on Chicago's top power play, even though I think Chicago's top power play is a better environment.
Brian, tiebreaker.
I'll go Chicago. I like their environment better for power play. So regardless of the carousel, I'll still go Chicago.
It's weird because Zane Parekh is obviously very, very good. He hasn't translated it at all in the NHL this year. And I know that he's been buried, he was getting 14, 15-minute treatment and then not top power play, but I still would have expected something, a few assists here and there, and he's done next to nothing. And Calgary's a terrible environment. I'm really curious, once Uyghur's gone, and then we'll see if Kadri goes, Huberdeau's shut down for the season. It's rumored Blake Coleman could be on the move. What the heck is Calgary's top power play going to be when this is all said and done? Who do they even Matt Coronado, Zane Parekh? They put Backlund. I don't even know who the heck they can put on there. Really,
even
if Connor Zary and Yegor Sharangovich. Those are probably the talented guys.
Yeah. even if Zane Parekh is the better option, it's just you don't have anyone else on the Calgary power play to help put the puck in the net. So that's kind of just ties into why I think Chicago, any defenseman in Chicago who's quarterback in the power play.
Guys, now that you got me thinking about it, I'm just picturing this 5-man unit of Matt Coronado, Matvei Gridin, Connor Zary, Igor Sharangovich, and Zane Parekh. And I like it. I could see those 5 guys succeeding on a top unit.
So instead of 15%, they move up to 16%. I like it.
Whoa, 15.5. Yeah. But also, this is just a situation where, the entire fantasy hockey community wants to DM Zane Parekh and say, hey man, listen, We need you to start shooting 5 times a game in the 17 minutes you get, because guess what? It doesn't matter like what your team does rest of the season. We just need you to do well. So
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. All right. So that let's move on here. We're gonna go into our one of our best segments. We're bringing back Fantasy Hockey Court. This time we're not just bringing one person to court. And Carter Verhaeghe, we put him behind bars, and that's why he looks so sad in this image here on the YouTube. But we're here. We're gonna bring 3 players total to Fantasy Hockey Court. One of which is going to be charged with being droppable in an 8-team leagues. The other one droppable in a 10-team league, and the other one droppable in a 12-team league. So that's the charge. The very first person, I'm bringing the charge to light here for the very first person. So in this charge, in 8-team leagues, Matthew Nyes, you're being charged as being droppable in these 8-team leagues. Matthew Nyes is currently 83% rostered, probably rostered in a lot of 8-team leagues, and for good reason. He's had a great season so far in 58 games played. He has 15 goals, 34 assists, 49 points, 9 on the power play, and he's averaging 1.93 shots and just over 2 hits per game. That puts his APL season rank at 74th. And an 82-game pace of 69 points, which is very nice. So you might be asking, hey, that's really good. You shouldn't drop that in an 8-team league. Well, I'm here to say that Matthew Nyes, you haven't. That all comes from a hot start. I believe he had 22 points in his first 19 games. And if we're just looking at what he's done lately, if you look at 2026 alone, he's played 21 games. And he only has 4 goals, 9 assists, and 13 points. And his shots and hits have dropped off a cliff. He's averaging 1.38 shots on goal and 1.29 hits per game. And this is outside the top 200 in APLs. And it goes out to an 82-game pace of 50 points. And without those periffs, 50 points, that's just definitely not worth holding on to in an 8-team league, maybe even droppable in a 10-team. But here we are. The charge is being droppable in an 8-team league. That's my opening statement. Matthew Nyes, who did you hire as your defense lawyer?
Well, he tried to hire better Saul Goodman. Saul Goodman was unavailable, so you got me. Hi, I'll be defending Matthew Nyes. And I'd just like to start off by saying, you talk about his point production, and over his last 5 games, he's got 5 points. So talk about a hot start to the season. Maybe, that's good. But 5 points in 5 games, I'm pretty sure that averages out to a point per game. That's pretty damn good. In terms of his point production, he is producing more points this year than he was even last year, considering he had more talent to play around last year. He's driving a lot more this year, 0.84 points per game compared to 0.74, which is a substantial increase in his point production. Sure, periffs are slightly down, but he's making up for it in that point production, which of course we value even a little bit more in the APL settings. Shooting percentage, on-ice shooting percentage has been up over his last 5 games. And I think a large reason of that is because I think Matthew Knight is playing with a little bit more freedom. And here's the reason why. We know the Toronto Maple Leafs suck this year. There was a kind of a push for them to kind of get to the playoffs, but they're well out of that. There's no chance to make the playoffs. So no pressure for him to keep climbing and push the team over to get a couple of wins. He can play without any risk of anyone being like, Matthew Knight, sell him, get rid of him. It's fine. We know he's got a lot of talent. And that's why I think that the rest of the season, you can rely on him for a stable point production. He's going to be getting a lot of opportunity on that top power play, which has started to look better recently. So for me, Matthew Knight, you can't drop him. He's too valuable.
All right. Well, I would like to point out, you say he's got 5 points in his last 5 games. Well, if we are being precise, if we're counting tonight's game where he has no points,
it's not over yet.
That gives him actually 1 point in his last 4, his last 3.66 games played. And that's a point pace of like what, 20? So we can use the stats however we want. What I would like to point out is that a lot of success this season at even strength that he's had. He's done a great job so far. His IPP is at 85.1%, meaning that he's gotten a point on 85.1% of the goals that have gone in while he's on the ice at even strength. And he's just not that type of player. He's not the elite playmaker, play driver. If anything, he's the one to let his teammates touch the puck a whole bunch and just park himself right in front of the net. His IPP last year was 62% at even strength, 59% the year before. And I do think that we might see some regression here as the season goes on in IPP, but not only IPP, but just there's going to be way less goals happening on the Leafs as they turn into sellers. In his last 5 games, like with all that success, not counting tonight, he's ranked 235th in on ice scoring chances for per 60. So while he's on the ice, even with great deployment, things are not happening. And this is just someone in an 8-team league. You better have elite guys on your team. Like if they're outside the top 140 players, they are not worth rostering. And there's going to be amazing guys on waivers, and you shouldn't be wasting a roster spot on Matthew Knies.
Interesting. Rebuttal, Your Honor. Here's the thing. We talk about also the last 5 games, and we don't have to look too much further than the ice time. Over the last 5 games, his ice time has gone down. And I think a large portion of that is actually just due to trying to showcase a couple other players to go and get traded. So we talk about the trade deadline coming up. Bobby McMahon is playing on that top line with Austin Matthews. He's likely a trade candidate. So someone's got to suffer the lack of ice time. And in this case, I think it's Matthew Knies. After the deadline, he'll be there. He'll be getting the ice time and will be continue to put up points. So for me, you don't have to look much further than the ice time over the last recent stint of games for me. And then I forgot your other point, so I'll end it there. All right,
Mr. Judge. What do you think of Mr. Judge?
I unfortunately have to rule against Mr. Matthew Knies here. Brian, if you want to appeal, you can appeal for a 10-team league, but in an 8-team league, Matthew Knies is getting straight dropped. I would much rather have a streamer spot and or somebody that is on a better team environment. I think Matthew Knies has played actually above, what the Leafs have been doing so far this season. Like he's been one of the few bright spots this year. But it hasn't been consistent, and the lack of power play points that Toronto power play, it's just tough. So unfortunately, I find him guilty of being droppable in an 8-team league.
Your Honor, please. I've spent too much money on my law degree, on everything. I've gone over 3 in the cases this year. I'm going to lose my job.
Oh man, the defense lawyer is making me sad, and I will say, he brought up a good point about the power play. If there's one bright spot, Toronto's not going to be, it sounds like, unfortunately, they're not going to be trading away any significant pieces. And I do think that power play could still be like a top half of the league power play with Matthews, Nylander, and Tavares and Knies. So if Knies has success, it's going to be on the power play, even if nothing else is going in at even strength, in my opinion. So Brian, you made good points. Don't give up. Don't give up anytime soon. All right.
Don't give up on my dream just yet. Thank you.
What is this pity party? This is fantasy hockey court, but gentlemen.
All right. Before we bring our next player to the stand, a couple more questions. Breadman, hello. Yes. Thoughts on Charlie Coyle rest of the season? He's had an interesting hot streak. I am somewhat interested as a streamer rest of season. I'm not counting on him to hold on rest of season. I'd be picking him up right now to see if he can continue the hot streak. Evan, what do you think about Charlie Coyle?
Yeah, it's tough to drop him in a lot of formats because he's getting shorthanded points. He's on the top power play right now. I don't know where this Charlie Coyle came from, but for right now, I think you do hold him until this falls off.
Yeah. And then while we were spitballing who's Calgary's top power play was. Breadman said Frost and Klapka potentially top power play too. Right. Yeah, Morgan Frost, I forgot about him. Like maybe he's in place for Sharangovich, and maybe they just park Adam Klapka in front of the net to bully some people, and he gets some Doug Glatt goals. Like it just gets off his body into the net.
Just have Zane Perek fire it right at Klapka.
Yeah, here's the thing. If Klapka knows that he doesn't get credited for hitting the goalie like as a hit towards his fantasy stats, I don't think he'll want to be a part of that top power play. So I can see Frost there. I can't see Klapka.
Interesting question. This is an ethical question, I believe, from Lucio. Here's an interesting question. I'm in first, projected to play 8th place in week 1, and he already loaded up 8th place loaded up for week 21, having 65 games. Would you purposefully lose this week so that you could finish 2nd and play 7th place? Anyone got some feelings here?
Yeah, I'll go. No, I wouldn't. Here's the thing is like so much pride, you can put into your fantasy leagues and you want to be the best. So you got to end the best, which means finishing first, and then make a statement by crushing 8th place. He's in 8th place for a reason. You're in first place for a reason. You carry that pride, crush him in the first week. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I would never intentionally throw a fantasy matchup, to be honest. Like, it would have to be crazy. Like, I mean, it just basically says, like, you're scared of, like, an advantage that he has because he loaded up. But, like, what is the advantage? So, like, he has 65 games. What do you have? And, like, if you're in first, you clearly have better players. So, yeah, I agree with Brian on this one.
Yeah, for me, I would say it needs to come from, like, any league rules that have been written. I play in a lot of leagues that like strictly state like you are not allowed to like sit guys to lose your week, and that just puts that to bed. Although if maybe it's written like, hey, yeah, sure, you're allowed to tank, you're allowed to bench your whole team. If everyone else is cool with that, I wouldn't mind. Like he's scoping out his opponent. He's doing some work for fantasy hockey. I don't think I would be totally against this. It's just it needs to be morally accepted in your league.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not against the rules, there's something that says you can't do it. Like Brian said, I have too much pride. I don't think I would go from being first place to second just in hopes of having like a potential better matchup. I don't know. I don't know that I could stomach it.
Yeah, how are you going to brag about being the best in the league if the one caveat they can say is, well, you finished second in the league, you aren't first,
I mean, it is smart to look ahead like this. I'll get, like you said, Ryan, I give him credit for that. I don't know that I could do it. It's a good thought. It's an interesting thought, though.
This is why the top two deserve a bye.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. One more question here. JJ Moser, Braden Schneider, Eric Chernak, Ryan Pulak, Adam Pelech, Liam Bischel, Cam York, and Tyler Myers. He needs blocks and plus minus. Okay. Okay, there we go. He's just looking for blocks and plus minus. Excuse me. For me, honestly, like blocks, I'm literally just looking at like the last 10 games averages, and I'll pick who has the highest averages there, and I might look at the opponents. If it's Colorado, Carolina, LA Kings, take a look at who gets blocked against the most, like scope out the opponents there. So yeah, I can't just give an answer here, but Brian, you have someone.
Yeah, I'll go Pulak. He blocks a ton on a much better New York Islanders team this year. I'll go Pulak. He's just, for the season, I think he averages more blocks than everyone there. I think so. So yeah, that would be my pick. And then plus or minus, I feel like oftentimes is a point system that you kind of like flip a coin to decide, hey, are you going to get, are you going to be on the plus side or the negative side? So it happens. So I just played for blocks in this case, and I'd go Pulak.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And Pulak's actually had a good season alongside Shea for a lot of time. So along for the ride there. And so his plus minus, I don't think will be that bad. And then Moser probably a close second for me with the plus minus. I mean, he plays on Tampa, so
Doesn't hurt.
All right. Well, our break is over from Fantasy Hockey Court. We are back, and Evan, I believe you are prosecuting our next player here.
yes. Well, we got to get into it here with Nikolai Ehlers in a 10-team league. So this is a guy that through 60 games played has 16 goals, 29 assists, only 45 points, 17 on the power play, 2.48 shots on goal. He had an APL season rank of 99, 82 game pace of 62 points. What are we doing, Rob Brindamore? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's against Nikolai Ehlers, but I also would like to bring Rob Brindamore to court because, Nikolai Ehlers could have gone anywhere. He could have gone to like probably Colorado. Like, he could have gone to Vegas with everybody else. Like, he could have gone to a different system and probably done more. But he went to Carolina because he believed in it. And he had some, countrymen there. But like, I don't know for sure if this is a thing, but I'm pretty sure there was like a handshake agreement that he was going to get, power play time and good ice time, because that was one of the things in Winnipeg where he didn't get that line one deployment. And we felt like, if he was going to get that time and that deployment, that he was going to skyrocket. And I feel like a lot of us had him projected for 70 plus points this year, 30 goals. He's a great offensive play driver, but this year it's not really worked out. I mean, 62 point pace, like it's okay. But in a 10-team lead, Nikolai, like it's not going to cut it. You can find 60 plus point players that are pacing better as a streamer, like I'm sure in 10-team leagues. So, he had like a really good game, like a hat trick game, like several weeks ago, but it's, what have you done for me lately? And, you could say, well, he's had 4 points in his last 5 games, but he's only averaging 16-20 of, time on ice. His shots per 60 are not bad at the rank 30, but like individual scoring chances per 60, like 300s, like individual expected goals per 60, like 198, like that's horrible stuff from Nikolai Ehlers. Like, I don't know. For me, maybe I felt like I had higher expectations for this player moving forward, and even like to finish out the year, but playing with Jordan Staal and Jordan Martinook on line 3 makes me want to throw up every time I see it. So Judge, please just, get a trash can, lean over and just, yak it up here.
All right. Before you bring it straight to the judge, Nikolai Ehlers does deserve some defense here. All right. He does look a little scared there, a little scared of your prosecution. He doesn't like your arguments at all. So my client here, Nikolai Ehlers, he hired a better lawyer than Matthew Nyes hired. We'll see. I don't know.
Judge might take that into account.
We're looking at a player 62-point pace. That's fine on a Carolina team. That's fine. He's been in the top 100 on that pace so far. And if you're a top 100 player, you should not be dropped in 10-team leagues. I will say, like, I know like a lot of that success was when he was on the top line with Aho and Jarvis, or Aho and Svechnikov, or on the top 2 lines, and lately on line 3 with Staal and Martinook. Yeah, that doesn't look too good, but he still is solidified on that top power play, and he has 17 power play points already this season, and Carolina's power play is heating up. So if he has continued success, it's going to be on that top power play, even if he lacks a bit at even strength. But I don't think we should be making any rash dropping decisions here based on, okay, the last game or the last few games, he's on line 3 with Jordan Staal and Martinook, and they're playing in their own end to defend. And then every time there's a face-off in the offensive zone, they're taken off the ice. I wouldn't overreact there. Nikolai Ehlers is super talented. He shows out in those micro stats with zone entries and puck carries into the zone, leading to scoring chances. And like, if anything, he can elevate Staal and Martinook. And maybe this line can actually have some success, but don't make any rash decisions. Rob Brindamore, he likes to mix things up, and he will continue to mix things up. Nikolai Ehlers will find his way back in the top 6, and he's still on that top power play. So if he holds on to this 62-point pace, yeah, he should still be on your team, especially with the Carolina playoff schedule, where in week 21 they only play 3 games, right? Yeah, they only play 3 games, but one of which is that Sunday, and then week 22 they play 4 games, including the Sunday, and then that finals week. Never mind, I'm looking at the wrong weeks here. Don't listen to me there. But Carolina has a good playoff schedule. Your Honor, I'm sorry I wasn't prepared with the playoff schedule notes.
One more rebuttal here, Your Honor, before we get to the ruling. You say he's power play 1, Ryan. Is he power play 1? Because I see Jordan Stahl, Andrei Svechnikov, Seth Jarvis, Shane Gostisbehere, and Sebastian Aho on power play 1. And some of these power plays, Jordan Stahl is taking his sweet time getting off the ice there. So I don't know that I would call him a true power play 1 player. But really, I'm trying to prosecute this player, but I also want to defend him because I have him in a few spots. Svechnikov has really held him back too by establishing himself and playing in that top line role and not getting in Rob's doghouse. So that's really been the crutch to Nikolai, my crutch to Nikolai Ehlers this season. So, Judge, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you very much. Both very convincing arguments. I've taken all into consideration. And it is true that he is on line 3, which can change. Oh, yes, Mr. Top Cheddar Fantasy, a rebuttal?
Sorry, just one last note here. If we're looking at last night's game, Nikolai Ehlers had 100% of the power play time on ice. So just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I do like hearing that. It is true that he is on line 3, and that can change up, but unfortunately, I don't think he's going to make it back up to that top line with Sebastian Aho, where we said he got a lot of his production. So that kind of hinders him here a little bit. The fact that he was on 100% of the power play yesterday is very convincing. I like to hear that.
It was one shift.
It was one shift, but still, yeah, I'm just looking at a couple of things here. Last 5 games, he's putting up points, which is great. But the underlying metrics, to Evan's point, do not look very good. And I think a lot of that does come from defensive zone starts. He's on that third line, which can change, yes. But for me, regardless of the playoff schedule, I'm going to find him guilty. I think you might be able to find a streamer to maximize your games here. Whereas Nikolai Ehlers, just with the situation he's in Carolina, it's just not a lock for me this year. Guilty.
All right. Wow. A lot of guilty verdicts. I would say to your defense, Ryan, in a 12-teamer, I would not drop him at all. Yeah,
in a 12-team, I would probably hold on to in a 12-team, but a 10-team, I think he's making Ehlers the first guy ever to be on power play 1.5. There you go.
BG. Very true. And I will say, I mean, maybe I'm wrong if my eyes deceive me, but I feel like Ehlers stays on for the first power play and the second, no? So he's technically getting, I think the most power play time. I don't think he fully goes off for PP2 a lot of times. So, for what it's worth.
Yeah, I can't confirm or deny. My client was just found guilty, and he won't be able to pay me now. So I'm off the clock.
Can neither confirm nor deny.
Ryan, you can join me at the bar for a disappointing pint. Sit there and cry over our lost cases.
All right. Yep. Excuse me. All right. Well, Brian, lucky for you, I believe the Crown, as we like to say in Canada, has hired you to prosecute our next player that we're bringing to court. So take us away here.
Yeah. So I'll be prosecuting Matvei Mishkov, who we've talked about a couple times this year. Through 59 games played this year, he's got 15 goals, 16 assists, and a measly 31 points, and only 8 power play points, averaging about 2.07 shots per game. APL season rank of 205. You heard that. 205 with an 82 game pace of about 43 points, far away from what we were expecting out of Matvei Mishkov this year. He is power play 1 right now with Connect Me Out, but line 2 with Cates and Brink. So the way I'm looking into Matvei Mishkov is, we already know that it's a far cry from what we were expecting for him this year, but a lot of that just comes from Rick Tocchet hating the guy. So we can set that aside and take a look at what he's done for us lately. 0.53 points per game this year, and no exposure to Trevor Zegras. What we've come to learn is Trevor Zegras runs a lot of that offense where we thought it was going to be Michkov this year. So that's unfortunate to see. As a result, he just doesn't get that as much offensive opportunity as someone who would be exposed to Trevor Zegras, aside from that power play that we talked about there. But so we don't like to see that. And not to mention the power play. Yeah, he's on that top power play right now, which is wonderful. We love to hear it. However, Philadelphia's power play is 29th in the league at 16.2 conversion rate. Like, that sucks. We don't like to see that. His shots, like we said, about 2 shots per game and next to no perif. So you're not even going to get the perif boost from a forward there. And let's just keep going with this. The average time on ice over the last 5 games, sure, it's gone up to 16 minutes, but that's still nowhere near where we want to see some of our players that we're looking to hold on to. We're looking around maybe the 18-minute range and to give him more opportunity. On the season, he's averaging 14 minutes time on ice, and we know the reason he isn't getting as much time on ice is because Rick Tocchet said he wasn't in shape, and as a result, he's going to be penalized, and that's going to carry over for the entire season. Lovely to hear that he's got a little stint of a couple more shifts here or there, but I don't expect anything from that. Expected goal rank per 60 is down, same as scoring chances. IPP is down. Like, I don't know. Talk to me about a bright spot with this guy. For me, easy drop.
Yeah, Your Honor, I'd like to call a witness to the stand, and that's Rick Tocchet, because this man has persecuted my client for too long. I mean, he's just holding down goal scorers everywhere he goes. I mean, he was muting Brock Besser, in Vancouver. Now he's doing it to Michkov. This guy is all world talent. Okay, this guy. I mean, last year we were talking about drafting him, in the 5th, 6th round at like a 90-point pace for this player. Now, granted, he ate a little bit too much in the offseason. Happens to all of us. My client has told me he's actually shed 10 pounds in the last 30 days. So if you look at that picture, his jawline's looking a little more pronounced. He's ready to start going flying out there. And, he is getting a little bit more time on ice, which is nice. It's bumped up from the 13, 14 minutes we were seeing to 16 minutes. I think this is a situation where, Philadelphia is 6 points out with 20 games remaining in the playoffs at a wild card spot. I don't think they're going to catch anybody. As it kind of starts to fall out here, I would fully expect Michkov to get a little bit more run. I would hope so, because, what do they have to play for? Like, there's no little concession, like a few teams out of the playoffs playing each other for something. Like, Rick Tocchet needs to realize that he needs to get his best player on the ice. Like, they need to get him some development, some exposure, and get him some confidence. And Rick Tocchet had killed that earlier this year. I think he really mismanaged it, but, my client's an all-world talent, and if he's given the opportunity, he will perform with it. He's been buried on line 4, PP2 for the vast majority of the season. If he gets a little bit of opportunity, a little bit of run here, which I do believe that Daniel Briere and management for the Flyers came out and said that they wanted. They do not want him buried in the lineup. They do not want – I mean, he's what puts butts in the seats in Philly. Like, you think these crazy Philadelphia fans want to see, Bobby Brink and Noah Cates out there, like all the Sean Couturier, like hobbling around on his, crutches, at age 30. Like, no one wants to see that. Okay. We want to see Matvei Michkov out there ripping goals. And I think that's what's going to happen rest of the season here as the Flyers fall out of the playoff spot.
Your Honor. Your Honor. First of all, I just want to point out that the defendant here is a liar. He tells us to look at the 10 pounds Matvei Michkov has dropped over the last 30 days, and told us to look at his jawline. You can't even see his jawline. So that's the first thing I'd like to point out. The other thing here is Rick Tocchet has already gone on record to say he will not give preferential treatment to someone who shows up to training camp out of shape like Matvei Michkov, because then that's going to set a bad precedent in the locker room. And Evan, to your point, you mentioned Matvei Michkov's one who's selling tickets. Well, guess what? Newsflash for you. It's actually Trevor Zegras this year. It's the Trevor Zegras show. Fans love to see the razzle dazzle that Zegras has. He's becoming a more complete player, and fans are loving to see that. This year, it's not the year for Michkov. Not to mention, he's out of shape. He doesn't get the time on ice. It's not going to continue at 16 minutes, maybe 15. Sure, I'll give you that, but that's nowhere near where we want guys to be. And as a result, you're not going to see the points. Like I said already, you want to have that exposure with Trevor Zegras. He controls a lot of the puck. Michkov can score if he plays with Zegras there, but he's just not. Deployment's not great. Lineup's not great. The player is not great this year.
Your Honor, the prosecutor references training camp, which was 6 months ago. It's outside of the statute of limitations. So I'd just like to say that. And also, Trevor Zegras has not played that well recently compared to what he was doing. Now, if you get somebody up on his line with a bunch of skill and shooting ability that he can facilitate to, like my client, then maybe we would see some goal production, including on the top power play.
But have we seen that? No,
but we need to, is my point. This is really, we need to get Rick Tocchet in here on the stand, so that we can kind of get this sorted out. But I fully defend my client rest of season here.
We're not looking to defend what if scenarios. We're dealing in facts. The fact is he doesn't play with Trevor Zegras. The fact is he's not the player you want to roster this year. That's a fact. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your points. I have a very important fact. In fact, I am quite the corrupt judge, and I have a big swing on Matvei Michkov to get 50+ points this year. We'll call it a big unit swing here. So I need 19 points in his last 22 games. Evan, do you think your client can get 19 points in his last 22 games?
I do believe that's a possibility, Your Honor.
You think it's a possibility? Okay.
I think it's a probability.
It's not a fact. Okay. Not a fact.
Well, I was looking. Matvei Michkov, he does have 6 multi-point games already, which is more than anyone in that 30-point range. So he is someone who could be a game breaker. He could finish with a few games of like 3 points, and he could get me to 50+ points that I need him to be. And in that case, I'm saying, Matvei Michkov, I'm holding on for hope here in 12-team leagues. You are cleared of your guilt. You are innocent, and we're going to hang on.
I got to find a new job. This is ridiculous.
Oh, goodness. Brian can't be the prosecutor or the defendant. We'll figure something out here, Brian.
Yeah, I can work the cameras, guys. I don't know.
Permanent judge.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Matvei, please.
Wait a second. Who's on the screen there, Your Honor?
A top 10 fantasy defenseman.
Oh man, how did Rasmus Dahlin end up in here? What is Rasmus? You were in court weeks ago. It's not your turn anymore, man.
If you're watching on the YouTube, Rasmus Dahlin's face just popped up. Ryan has to take a swig of his drink there, so we can move on.
He wants to go back into court because he's been pretty good since we prosecuted him.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. All right. Well, that was some fun. All right. Well, we had some excuse me. We had some trades that went down, and we're not going to let them go ungraded. So we have some last few trade grades of the season here. A few trades that went down before the trade deadline in fantasy hockey leagues. And yeah, we got to provide our grades. So Brian, take us into that first one.
All right. So we got a Bangers points leagues. Goals are worth 3.5, assists 2.5, penalty minutes are 0.3, shorthanded points 1, shots on goal 0.5, as well as hits and blocks are all 0.5. You're going to be giving away Radko Gudas and Dylan Holloway, and you're going to be receiving Adam Fox. This trade was submitted to us by Josiah.
All right. I'm giving this one an A-. I think, yeah, this is definitely a win. Good job getting this done at the deadline. Adam Fox hasn't done anything for you yet since this trade. He has 0 points in his 3 games since his return, but he does have 6 shots on goal, 2 hits, 4 blocks, which is not nothing. And yeah, like we can talk about the Rangers playoff schedule a bunch, and you didn't have to give up a lot. Like, I like Dylan Holloway's potential for the rest of the season, but that's what it is. It's potential. So giving up Gudis and Holloway, I love it.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm giving this a B plus, and the only knock I have here is, to your point, Fox hasn't done anything since he's been back, and a lot of that is because the talent is dwindling in the Rangers locker room. But don't be mistaken, I am still making this trade. You're getting the best player available to you with the best playoff schedule, which of course is what we really care about at this point in the season. But my only worry is that his point production just won't be anywhere near what it could have been if the Rangers were decent this year.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you guys said. I think Adam Vox individually, despite the team being horrible, is still a really good offensive defenseman. So yeah, I think he'll get it done, and he's the best player in this trade. So easy accept from me.
All right. Good work there. All right. Our second last trade grade of the season. This one's an ESPN head-to-head all cats league. So there's goals, assists, plus minus, PIMs, face-off wins, shots, hits, blocks, and then defense points, I think, is a boom, and special teams points. So we are giving away Kyle Connor, Charlie Coyle, and Ben Sherratt, and we are receiving Leo Carlson, Matt Duchene, and Brant Clark. And this is submitted by Blue Goon.
All right. I think I'm up first. Yeah. So I'm giving this one a B minus. So I'm on the fence, but I'm leaning towards not making the trade. Reason being, I don't want to give up the best player here, which is Kyle Connor. I'm a really big fan of what Charlie Coyle has done this year. And of course, we talked about him being on that top power play is super relevant. He's been shooting a ton. And we not to mention, we talk about the peripheral categories, the shots, the hits, the blocks, like Ben Sherratt does all that, which is super helpful. And then if we look at the package we would be receiving, Leo Carlson, Duchene, Brant Clark, I like that package. However, Mikko Rantanen will come back at some point. Duchene his value is going to drop when that happens. Brant Clark is great. Leo Carlson won't be anywhere near he was earlier in the year. So to me, the biggest caveat here is I won't be making that trade because you're giving away the best player, and it's not enticing enough for me to make that trade.
Yeah, so I disagree here. I give it a B. So I would make this trade. I don't think you're like running around like bragging about this trade necessarily, but I think this is a perceived value thing here with Kyle Connor and Leo Carlson, because I think they are comparable players now. I think that at the start of the year, obviously that would have been like a crazy trade, but Kyle Connor, like the Jets have been doing a little bit better recently, but it's not the Kyle Connor from the last like 2-3 years. Like this is kind of a muted Jets offense, a muted version of Kyle Connor. Leo Carlson's been great since he's been back from injury. So I expect nothing less than point per game pace for Leo Carlson moving forward. In terms of Duchene and Coyle, this is kind of the interesting part for me because, you can look at it and say, well, Coyle, and Duchene, like similar face-off numbers. Duchene probably shoots a little bit more, but hits blocks. Duchene does nothing else peripherally. So Coyle's going to get that and the shorthanded points. But we've seen Duchene. I mean, have you guys seen Duchene recently when Rantanen's been out? Last game he had 4 assists and on the power play as well. So yeah, Duchene's been, all systems go since Rantanen's been out and Hintz, but Rantanen especially. And then I think the final part of this, like Sherratt versus Brant Clark. Brant Clark is getting very similar block numbers to Sherratt, and Pim's not too far off either. The shots on goal, Clark's got him by a mile, and he's still going to get more points. So the only thing you're missing there is the hits for Sherratt. I really like Brant Clark. So for me, I would do this trade. Like I said, I don't think it's a smash, but I do like it.
All right. And I'm giving this one a C. I would not do this trade. Evan, I like your points on Brant Clark. Love what Duchene's doing. And I think he can definitely turn things around to what he was doing in the start of the season. And Leo Carlson, yeah, I think around a point per game can be expected. But to me, Kyle Connor, he's still like a top 20 fantasy player. And this return is missing like a true stud. I don't think Leo Carlson is a true stud. Even if he gets to a point per game, like his shots are going to be lower. He doesn't really do peripheral stuff, so he's still going to be outside the top 50, I'd say. And yeah, giving up Kyle Connor here, I don't think it's the right move.
Leo, listen to what Ryan just told you.
All right, last trade grade here. This one is submitted by myself in my Dynasty League, 18-team Dynasty League. I got a trade done here. It's a Cats League, goals, assists, points, power play points, shorties, shots, hits, and blocks. I gave away Miroshnichenko, who is one of my better prospects, and a 2027 first rounder, which is a rookie draft first rounder. And I received Drake Batherson and a second rounder. So I moved down a whole round in the 18-team rookie draft, and I traded Miroshnichenko for Batherson. And I'm giving this one an A+, guys. I think I love it. I'm going for the win here, and Ottawa in this league has actually one of the best playoff schedules. It's a weird one that goes almost to the end and has a 2-week final, and Ottawa has a great schedule in there. So Drake Batherson's going to help me out. And, my thinking was Miroshnichenko, like his ceiling, I think could be better than Batherson with similar points maybe but better goal scoring, I think, and similar hits as well, similar peripherals in this Cats League. And yeah, that's going to come maybe 3 to 5 years from now. So for me, I'm in win now mode, even if I'm giving up a higher ceiling. Evan.
Yeah, no, I like it too. I really like Drake Batherson. I traded for him in a spot as well, not a dynasty league, but yeah, look what he's done in the past few games. He's getting multi-goal games here. So yeah, I think Ottawa's kind of figured it out offensively since that kind of little skid. But yeah, if you're going for it this year, this is the way to do it. So congrats, Ryan.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I give this an A. I see it very similarly here. If you're going for it this year, you want the best player that you know of currently playing, which is Drake Batherson. You know exactly what you're going to get, whereas Miroshnichenko, there's still a lot of what if, how does that translate to the NHL game? Like what does that really kind of look like? And not to mention, you're not giving up too much in terms of the picks. Like, yeah, you're giving up a first, but you're getting a second back. So that could have been worse off. So I like the trade. You're getting the best player here that you know of concrete right away. And that's going to give you a great chance to win this year.
All right.
Brian, I'd like to comment briefly as when your defensive Matthew Nyes scored a goal in this game. Update.
So does that change your ruling?
I'll take it into consideration for appeal.
This is ridiculous. Okay.
It was a stat correction too. They originally gave it to Tavares, and then I guess they must have seen that it must have hit Matthew Nyes' knee or something. I don't know.
They were listening to us live as the game was going on.
Yep. All right. Taking us home here, we are gonna go over the rest of the week streams. So tonight is Wednesday. This episode will come out Thursday morning. And we're going to take a look at Thursday to Sunday. So we're going to call this segment the stream shower. All right. Nate and Blake, they cross the streams at the beginning of the week. They set you up for the whole week. And we're coming in at the end just for a little sprinkle, little shower at the end here for the streams. You guys ready for a little sprinkle? Yeah,
not too hot, just the right temperature here.
This was not pre-approved, but I do love it.
All right. The stream sprinkle. No, the stream shower. I don't know. Still work in progress. But here we go. All right. Thursday to Sunday, there are 4 teams with 3 games, and that's Boston, Tampa, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh. And then there's 2 teams with just 1 game remaining, be it Seattle and Washington. So for me, yeah, it might be, if I'm really looking to win this week, it might be time to cut ties on some Capitals or Kraken. Players like Jordan Eberle, maybe. I don't know if he's a hold. Matty Beniers, Chandler Stevenson. Evan, would you be dropping Jordan Eberle here for a good stream?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I already did.
Okay.
Earlier this week, I was holding on to Jordan Eberle because he is having a pretty good season. 20 goals already, like top line, top power plays, the captain. He's getting stuff done. He had a 2-goal, 1-assist game recently, but Seattle again is just not a great offensive environment. They like to win games like 3-2 or 2-1. So yeah, with one game left, like I'm not really interested in holding any of the Kraken outside of maybe Vince Dunn or Brandon Montour if they're a good defenseman for you or a solid back end. But yeah, Matty Beniers, Stevenson, Eberle. I think especially like if you're not locked up for a bye, like Seattle doesn't really have a great schedule for the playoffs or for anything else. So Seattle especially, I'm fine dropping any of them.
Brian, do you agree?
Kind of. Here's the thing: they do play 4 times next week, which I know for a lot of teams that is the last week of the regular season next week. So if you're trying to firm up on your standings, I would consider holding a couple guys like McCann, Dunn, Eberle. I think I would. Yeah, how could you? I think I would try to hold on to Eberle, but I would drop Beniers and Stevenson.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like if you're looking at next week, if next week is super important, this week's super important too. So it'll be a tough decision being like, okay, 2 extra games right now for this week. Hopefully you have it locked in though. But yeah, like Eberle is definitely on the fence for me. I'm keeping McCann. Everyone else a drop. And then Washington, Pierre-Luc Dubois is crushing it lately. So he's kind of on the fence for me. But I do think, to get those extra games, I am dropping PLD, I'm dropping Protas, I'm dropping Ryan Leonard. Brian, would you disagree? Are you holding on to any of those guys?
Yeah, I think I would disagree. I think because we talk about Seattle with a 4-game schedule, like Washington has a better 4-game schedule next week, right? I think it's the Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So like next week, I know Nate and Blake will get into it, but Monday, Wednesday, it's very few teams play. So if you can hold on to someone that does play those games, I would do that. PLD, I like the way he's playing. I think I'd try to hold on to him, but in this case, I would drop Protas and Leonard.
Yeah,
Evan?
I would agree with Brian there. PLD, he actually in the APL, I thought I'd agonized over picking him up yesterday, but I'm kind of in a tight battle and I wanted to make sure I win this week, so I didn't pick him up. And of course now he's gone because I wanted to wait until Saturday. Protas, thankfully, he was out, so I threw him on my IR in a spot. So if he did that, great, because you can just keep him stashed. But outside of that, I'd still drop Protas if he had to.
Here's what you do, Brian. You're dropping on Thursday. You're dropping PLD, Ryan Leonard, Protas, and then you just got to set your alarm for 3 a.m. on Monday and make sure you're the first one to get these guys to stream next week.
Yeah, I will say you got to make sure you snap awake, because there's been a couple times where I set that alarm for 3 o'clock. I go to make an ad at 3:01 and the guy's already taken. I'm like, how is that possible?
Set it for 2:55.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right. So now we're looking at who we're actually picking up with those spots we're opening up. So 3 games left, Thursday to Sunday. We'll start with Tampa Bay. So we're looking at maybe Victor Hedman. Maybe Victor Hedman was dropped in your league because he's been doing nothing without that top power play. Maybe Anthony Cirelli, Oliver Bjorkstrand. For me, we actually we're talking about Bjorkstrand. He started on a line with Point and Gensel, but then he worked his way back down to the 4th line with Scott Sabourin and Connor Geeky. But he still is on the top power play. So Bjorkstrand's like a boomer bust. For me, 3 games, best case scenario, he gets 3 points. I don't think that's very likely. I would expect 1 to 2 power play points. Cirelli, though, for me, playing with Hagel at even strength and in that top 6, even without that top power play, I think it's just more likely that he puts up more fantasy points. So I'd be going towards Cirelli.
Yeah.
Evan, Brian?
Brian, you go ahead.
Sure. I would rank them Cirelli, Hedman, Bjorkstrand.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. Sorelli, like even strength and shorthanded, even they get it done. So yeah, Bjorkstrand is kind of a Hail Mary play that I specifically made as well.
Okay. And like Gonsalves, I don't know how to say his name. Gonsalves.
Sure.
He, I don't know if he's gonna be out for a while. But if he's like back tomorrow, that might be a guy I'm a little more interested in than Bjorkstrand, even off the top power play. Like he was up in the top 6. He was up with Point and Kucherov and having some success there. So someone to keep an eye on. All right. Evan, you want to take us into Boston?
Yeah. So let's see. I'll bring it up here. Boston this week as I'm pulling it up. So Boston has the Thursday, Saturday, Sunday against Nashville, Washington, and the Penguins. For me, obviously, you can Morgan Geeky's on nobody's wire. Let's be real. You look at Pavel Zacha, somewhere like Elias Lindholm, Victor Arvidsson. Honestly, like I really like Victor Arvidsson. I feel like he shoots the puck, and a lot of times he'll get you a goal here and there. And second power play sometimes will get it done, and when it does, it's him. So for my money, I like Victor Arvidsson. Pavel Zacha, again, like huge like boomer bust guy. I feel like a lot of times he just goes cold for like weeks at a time. So I feel like I'm not as terribly interested in him. Elias Lindholm, if he's available, would be the number one, obviously. I feel like he's not as widely available in a lot of spots, but if he is, he'd for sure be my number one. But yeah, I'd go Lindholm, Arvidsson, and then Fraser Minton. He had been doing well at times, and sometimes Boston had put the lines in like a blender and he was playing up with pasta. So if he was, then I would. But I'd say for me, it's Elias Lindholm and Victor Arvidsson.
Yeah, I would rank it similarly. Lindholm, Arvidsson, Zacha, Minton.
Yeah, I might go Arvidsson number one. Just Lindholm, it's going to be super high efficiency. So if he finds the success, that's great. If he doesn't, he's getting you one shot over 4 games.
Whereas Arvidsson, he has had a 9-shot game this season. Let's not forget. So like he can and will shoot the puck as soon as it gets onto his stick. So that is valuable.
I don't know what to make of Elias Lindholm as like an NHL hockey player. Like I feel like he looked so good like in Calgary, and then like everyone kind of and then even in Vancouver he was mid. I feel like he was good for a little bit, but not crazy. And then he goes to Boston, and yeah, I think I expected more. Like I really think that he should be kind of like a 70-point player along with Pasta. It's weird. Like I feel like he's almost like a tad above Bjorkstrand, where he'll just like run into some points via power play, but outside of that, like he doesn't generate a lot of his own offense like Arvidsson does.
Except he blocks.
He does block.
Yeah. All right, Brian, you wanna pull up some Pittsburgh Penguins to talk about?
Some pity pangs. Sure. So these guys, Penguins play Thursday, Saturday, Sunday as well. They've got Buffalo, Philadelphia, and Boston. They've already played Boston this week. Guys we're looking at here, it's funny enough that we're even talking about this because no one thought Pittsburgh was going to be good this year, but we got Chinikov, Mantha, Kindell, Tommy Novak, Justin Brazeau, Chris Letang. And for me, I'm looking at guys who are on that top power play, like Anthony Mantha, who would be probably my first look, followed by Chinikov, who has been really good since joining Pittsburgh. And then if your league has any sort of periffs waiting, like Chris Letang's a good option. He's the first up to bat if Carlson goes down on that top power play. And then you got guys like Brazeau, Novak, Kindell. I kind of group them all together, maybe with Brazeau at the top there. But my number one option, Anthony Mantha, Chinikov 2, Letang 3, and then that group 4.
Nice. Yeah. For me, I'm liking Chinikov a lot. Like he's shooting the puck. He's the trigger man, and he's finding success. And like if you look at his shot on goal consistency in what is that? Like his last 10 games, he has 3+ shots in 9 of them. And he's got 4 or more in 3 of them. And yeah, there's just one game he has 2 shots. So like that's the worst case scenario. Which I like, and Chinikov might be my 3 a.m. ad on a Thursday.
There you go.
Evan, what are you thinking?
It's funny you say that because I'm in a battle right now in one of my leagues with the second seed for the first overall seed, and we're pretty candid about talking about our pickups. And he sent me a text message before he goes to work. He said, "I'm formally informing you that you have until I get out of work to grab Chinikov. Could be at 10 p.m., could be at 2 a.m., but the gamble is yours." So we did discuss Chinikov, and I will be picking up Igor Chinikov. But yeah, I like
Nice.
Mantha too, Brian. They're right up there, like 1 and 2 for me.
Yeah, and we call ourselves Experts League. My very first ad was going to be Chinikov, but he was still on waivers, so I was like, all right, I'll settle for Mantha. I just need to make an ad.
Very good.
Nice. All right. The last team here with 3 games. Again, all of these teams play Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. If you are counting on all 3 games, make sure you can fit them in on the Saturday.
Mhm.
If not, maybe rethink. Like maybe some teams with 2 games are better ads. But yeah, we're looking. Buffalo has plenty of guys that could produce value that are pickups. Take a look at Josh Norris if he's still available, Jason Zucker, Ryan McLeod, Peyton Krebs, Josh Doan, Jack Quinn, and then 3 good defensemen: Samuelson, Owen Power, and Bowen Byram. I think there's a lot of guys here, and it's kind of a crapshoot where maybe the third line just goes off, and maybe Bowen Byram scores 3 goals. Who knows? But for me, Josh Norris is my top guy here, as long as he stays healthy for the 3 games that we're trying to stream him for.
It's a big ask.
And then, yeah. And then honestly, Peyton Krebs, he had 20 minutes in their last game.
Wow.
He's playing with Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck. So for this 3-game stream, I'm happy to hop on Peyton Krebs to hopefully get him in on some points with Thompson and Tuck. Who you guys liking?
Brian, you first.
Yeah, Norris I think is the obvious choice, but I really have liked what Zucker has done on that top power play this year. If he's available, I'd grab him. And I mean, like, can't believe I'm saying this, but Ryan McLeod, he just keeps putting up points this year. He doesn't give you really any sort of proofs at all, but he's giving you points, which is really nice to see. If I were to pick a defenseman right now, I would honestly still probably go with Samuelson, just because he's glued to the hip with Dahlin, which is nice, and he gives you a lot of periffs in terms of blocks, mostly with some hits, which is really good. He's been shooting a little bit. Yeah, so those would be my options.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think, yeah, if Norris or Samuelson are available in your league, they probably aren't, but if they are, then scoop them up immediately. And either of them you could argue could be a hold. But yeah, for my money, I would say I take Zucker number 1. I just think his role in that power play as like a power play goal specialist, like really good, and even some even strength stuff. But I will say, to Ryan's point, like if you put a gun to my head and said you have to make a decision or like you lose fantasy for the rest of the year, it doesn't matter, playoffs, like I would take Ryan McLeod, because this guy will come out of nowhere and get like 2 or 3 points in a game. He's consistent. He'll get like a point per game almost. Like somebody during the last Buffalo broadcast, there was some stat where like he's almost like a point per game in his last 30 games. But I still think, yeah, like he'll get like some shorthanded points. Like, I don't know. I feel like he's kind of got like a mini dog in him, mini Nate McKinnon almost, but he doesn't shoot.
Nice. I will also point out Jack Quinn as someone that I'd be after. Personally, I'd be after him more than McLeod, more than Krebs. Probably not Zucker, but he's just been shooting tons lately and getting a lot of scoring chances. He is 5th in individual scoring chances for per 60 in his last 5 games. And the on-ice stuff looks great as well. And he's on a line with Ryan McLeod and Jason Zucker, and he's on the second power play unit with Alex Tuck, guys who can't get on the top unit. So they're still giving the second power play unit some time. So I'd be happy to stream Jack Quinn and drop Eberle or PLD and get those extra 2 games, and he's going to get shots, and hopefully I'd hope for those scoring chances to turn into goals. All right. Do you guys have maybe a top 3 out of all the guys we talked about to stream. I can go first here. My top 3 would be Chinikov, Arvidsson, and let's just say Josh Norris is taken. I'm going Jack Quinn.
Okay.
Brian?
That was almost my exact top 3. Like Chinikov, Arvidsson, and then I go Zucker. But if I'm going to change it up, I'll go sticking with Boston and go Lindholm, Arvidsson, Zucker.
Okay. I will go with Cirelli, Chinikov, and I will go Ryan McLeod.
Chinikov, common thread.
I also would like to point out as a final note to you gentlemen, as much as Luke Hughes has been terrible this season, he now has 3 assists in his last 3 games played. Don't look now. The resurgence starts.
Secondary assist or what?
Tertiary, but they're somehow counting. Yeah, secondary assist.
Awesome. Also, we did have a couple of comments that we didn't get to. I just want to quickly wrap up with these here. Rinzel or Pulak for your last D slot. I think it depends on league settings, but if you value peripheral slot, obviously Pulak. If there's more waiting for points, I'd go Rinzel. Do you guys differ with that?
Agree.
I agree.
Cool. And next one for the Breadman. Also, what do you think my Zook and draft pick for Miller trade? So earlier he said he gave away Zook and a draft pick for JT Miller. Like hindsight 2020, I thought it was a great pick, but now, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Tough look.
Tough. It's a tough look. Yeah. Breadman here also trade Panarin and Luke Hughes for Rust and Radish. Cats include hits or bits and plus minus
Bits.
no blocks. Giving away
Yes, smash.
Panarin
Smash
and like the Penguins schedule alone. I love it. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, Panarin and Luke Hughes, they're getting you no bits. So give me Rust and Radish.
Yeah. No bits. That makes the
Rust
difference.
and Radish.
Radish has been so good. And then Evan, you're getting a little shout out here from Hunter BG. Finally waiting for Dahlin retrial. We won't do it yet because he's a top 10 fantasy defenseman, I think.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll get it there.
Yeah. All right. Do we have one more slide here? No?
Just to like, get in the Discord,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah, for those of you that are listening, join the Discord community. We appreciate everything you guys have been saying. We love to jump in, comment on any questions, stuff like that. Nate and Blake are great with answering. It's a great community to be a part of. Make sure you like, rate, review, and subscribe, as well as comment. Boy, that's quite the mouthful. We love to hear the comments, so get in there, give us all your information, give us your questions. We're happy to answer anything that pops up. But with that being said, that's all we've got for this episode. Hopefully it brought you some value and helped you get just a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. Many thanks to Matt Creamer for supplying the music for the podcast. Thanks for listening. We appreciate your time, and we'll catch you next one.